Welcome to the Sales Acceleration Show. Today we're here at the Growth Hacking Conference in Antwerp, and we have Yannick, who is actually the organizer and also the co-founder of
the Growth Revolution, what used to be Trigger. We changed names yesterday, so it was not the best idea to do it in the same week as the event, but
clearly all things always come together. But you've started actually a growth hacking agency since a while, and I was wondering how do you do it? Because you went on a journey, you have a lot of experience now. So when you go to customers, how do you start projects? What would be your advice actually to our viewers?
First of all, one misconception that I want to take out of the world for once and for all: growth hacking is not about the hacks. So people always think growth hacking is just a list of all these hacks and tools. I see it every time I see a presentation on growth hacking. People speak about tools. That's not it. What we try to do at the Growth Revolution is two things. We try to implement process, so that's really important. We try to create an internal framework to come up with new marketing tactics, new ways of doing things, and especially finding more valuable ways to get in touch.
So it's like really structure the approach, get the machine going, and then some tactics around. And experiments.
Experiments.
Right. Do you have some examples of like experiments? I heard some rumors about a Tinder application.
Yeah, that was a really nice one. It was more like, it was actually something really funny. We did it for the guys of Flavor, and we created like a Tinder bot. We called it the spaghetti bot, and it was basically a spaghetti, and if people matched the spaghetti, they swiped right on Tinder, the spaghetti would automatically start talking to them, and it would say, you can order me in your location.
But on Tinder.
But on Tinder. So really an unexpected way of marketing. So that's something totally different than Google AdWords. That's an example. I was talking about process. That's the first thing we do. Second thing we do with the Growth Revolution is like we really want to boost experimental marketing. We really want companies and people to design experiments and to run experiments.
But in a structured way, like you really. What, sprints? What's the methodology?
Sprints, we always do 2-week sprints. We do one growth meeting, we ideate, we do 2-week sprints, we iterate, we optimize, and that's it. Really simple.
Tracking the data, seeing what works, what doesn't work.
And get insights from that. That's the hardest part.
It's the hardest part.
That's the hardest part.
So 2 weeks enough?
I would never test any experiments for longer than 2 weeks, because if it won't work in 2 weeks, it won't work in 2 months. And it keeps you going, and it keeps it really fast.
So with this, I do a lot of sales sprints. I do 6 weeks. The reason is very obvious, because the other side needs to do something, right? It's a bit
for sales. It's really difficult.
But honestly, I still have to try it. Maybe on 2 weeks. See what happens. Why not?
You have to try. You should do it with us.
Of course, I should do it. It's okay.
I was giving you an example on how we do it. For example, you have the Tinder bot, but for the experimentation, we really always try to create, like, let's call it the multi-touch point strategy. And we have, for every company, we want to come up with 4 or 5 ways to touch the consumer, to get on their radar. And what we always try to do, we want to have 30 to 40% of these experiments or these touch points must be unexpected.
So like not the classic, because one of the things that you also mentioned is like, I don't want companies to start spamming. I want to do something else.
I really want to do something else, because, for example, I won't name these companies, but you have these big retailers and telcos who, they bomb you with ads. And I think that's not what marketing is about anymore. I think, and that's where growth hacking.
So how do you solve it? What would you do differently then?
First of all, by providing more value to the consumer.
Relevant
what we
content,
do, for example, in our offering, no sales talk here, but what we do is we call it Sideproject marketing. We want to create one step in between the customer and the company, and by offering value. For example, a really known example is the website grader from HubSpot. You fill in your URL and you get a list of actions you can do to improve your website. We did something similar for a client where it's a company that makes shakes to make people healthier and skinnier. Slim. Indeed. And what we did there is we made the BMI calculator.
That's
so
like
people
body
fill
fat,
in some details,
muscle.
Indeed, and they get a list of actions to do and to help them. And of course, they know it's made by that company, but they won't say buy our product. They say take this list, improve, and in the end, maybe they might buy the product.
You create trust and credibility almost.
It must be spontaneous. That's really important.
No, I get it. I get it. So if it's too constructed, it's not going to work.
No, and that's the biggest shift in marketing, I guess.
I believe. I believe sales should become more marketeers, and marketers should become more sales. I mean, it's like really starting to blend.
It's really funny. I was talking with someone about this a while ago, and it's like where sales and marketing, they are switching sides, because the marketer now has to talk one-on-one, and the sales guy has to talk against a mass of people. And I think that's a really funny shift.
And I think that really blending that is going to be the real power, if those can really make it accelerate.
Let's call it sales hacking, and
sales
start
hacking,
an agency on that.
Perfect,
we should do
perfect. That. So if you would want to give some takeaways and say, look, Michael, as a conclusion.
As a conclusion, I would say, start to experiment. Start with one experiment. Organize a non-obligatory growth meeting, gather people across different departments in your company, bring them together and have them ideate on what growth could be for your company. And last but not least, download our growth hacking canvas. growthhackingcanvas.com, fill it in, and it's free, and it will really help you to get your growth hacking process in place.
Set up a growth process, get the right people in the room that want to participate and they want to push. And keep moving.
And start to experiment.
I love it.
Do things you've never done before. Act now.
Try.
Indeed.
Nothing to lose. Thanks a lot. If you like the show, give it a thumbs up, subscribe for a lot more content, and Yannick, thanks a lot for joining.
No problem. It was a pleasure.
Love the chat. Catch you later.
Thanks.